the transformation. It all started with a new neighborhood, a fresh beginning. Jeff and his family had just moved in, hoping for a peaceful life. But peace was never in Jeff's fate. Bullying at school, constant fights, and the growing darkness inside him began to consume his mind. Jeff had always been a quiet kid, but something inside him was changing. The bullying wasn't just physical. It was relentless, a psychological war that chipped away at his sanity. One evening, Jeff and his brother Lou found themselves cornered by the bullies. A brutal fight broke out. Overwhelmed by fury, Jeff snapped. He fought back with a force he never knew he had, leaving the bullies bloodied and broken. But it wasn't over. That night, the bullies retaliated. They ambushed Jeff outside his home, doused him in alcohol, and set him ablaze. The flames consumed his flesh as he screamed into the night. He collapsed, the world fading into darkness. Days later, he awoke in a hospital bed. His body felt different, lighter, freer. The bandages were removed, revealing a pale, ghostly complexion. His lips curled into a grotesque grin, his eyes wide and devoid of emotion. Looking into the mirror, he no longer saw Jeff Woods. He saw something new, something monstrous. The pain was gone. Only hunger remained. The first kill. Jeff's family noticed the change, but they couldn't understand what lurked behind his hollow eyes. His mother, sensing danger, walked into his room one night only to find him standing in the dark, a knife glinting in his hand. "Jeff, what are you doing?" she whispered, fear creeping into her voice. He turned slowly, his permanent grin stretching eerily. "Go to sleep," he murmured. In an instant, he lunged. The knife found its mark. His mother's screams filled the house, waking his father and Lou. But it was too late. One by one, he ended them. The walls were splattered with crimson, his laughter echoing through the silent home. By morning, Jeff stood in the wreckage of his family, his once white hoodie now soaked in blood. He felt no remorse, only exhilaration. The old Jeff was dead, and this new entity was ready to embrace the darkness. The urban legend. Jeff vanished into the shadows, his legend whispered among the fearful. They say he watches from dark corners, slipping into bedrooms unseen. A teenage girl, alone at night, felt a presence in her room. The window was open, though she swore she had locked it. As she turned in bed, her breath caught. A pale figure loomed over her, a blood-stained grin frozen in place. "Who's there?" she stammered, her voice barely a whisper. No answer, just the sound of slow, deliberate breathing. Then he stepped forward. His face, an eerie mask of death, gleamed in the moonlight. "Go to sleep," he hissed, and the darkness swallowed her screams. From that night on, the legend of Jeff the killer spread like wildfire. People claimed to see him lurking outside their homes, his wide, lifeless eyes watching from the darkness. Some vanished without a trace, their beds left soaked in crimson. The police never found him because Jeff was no longer a person. He was a nightmare, an entity of fear, a warning to those who dared to look too long into the dark.